You know what's exhausting? Always being there for people who never show up for you. Always being someone's option when all you ever gave was priority. But here's the truth. You teach people how to treat you. And if you keep showing up for everyone, you'll end up losing the one person who matters most to yourself. So today, let's talk about how to stop being everyone's backup plan and start being your own priority. Because darling, you're not a convenience. You're a choice, and the right ones will choose you every single time. The biggest mistake people make is forgetting their own worth. They spend so much time trying to prove they're good enough for others that they forget they were already born enough. Society conditions us to believe that we must earn love, validation, and approval by being perfect, by being accommodating, by constantly showing up, even when nobody shows up for us. But here's the truth. Your worth doesn't decrease because someone else failed to see your value. Diamonds don't lose their shine just because someone is too blind to recognize their brilliance. Think about it. When you go to a luxury store, do you ever see the staff begging customers to buy their products? Never. Because they know the value of what they offer. They don't go on sale. They don't beg for attention. The right people come to them because of the quality, the uniqueness, the experience. That's how your energy should be. You are not meant to be available to everyone. You are not meant to lower your value just to fit into someone's budget. Emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. When you know your worth, you stop chasing validation. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop bending yourself into shapes just to fit in places you were never meant to belong. Let's be honest. How many times have you stayed quiet when you should have spoken up just to keep the peace? How many times have you accepted less than you deserved because you didn't want to lose someone? That's not kindness. That's fear disguised as loyalty. And fear has destroyed more dreams than failure ever will. One day, you'll wake up and realize that you gave your all to people who didn't even deserve half. You'll look back and think, I was the one who kept trying, who kept believing, who kept showing up. But knowing your worth means realizing that being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. It means having the courage to walk away from anyone or anything that makes you forget your own power. Let me tell you something. There's a difference between arrogance and self-worth. Arrogance says, I'm better than you. Self-worth says, I'm not less than you. The world will often confuse your confidence with ego. They'll call you selfish for setting boundaries, cold for choosing peace, and ungrateful for wanting more. But that's because people benefit from your self-doubt. The moment you rise, they feel the tremor. So let them call you whatever they want. You just keep building yourself. Look at the people who truly know their worth. They don't rush. They don't chase. They attract. They take their time because they know what they bring to the table is rare. You ever notice how calm and steady people become once they stop needing to prove their worth? It's power in silence. It's grace under pressure. It's strength wrapped in elegance. Here's a story from everyday life. Imagine a person working tirelessly at a job, giving their heart, ideas, and weekends, while their efforts go unnoticed. They wait for recognition that never comes. Then one day, they realize, I'm not appreciated here. Instead of complaining, they leave. They find a new place that sees their value. Within months, they flourish. That's what happens when you stop begging for validation from the wrong environment. You start blooming where you're truly valued. Or think about relationships. Sometimes, you give someone endless chances. You forgive, you compromise, you wait. But the truth is, love without respect is just emotional charity. Knowing your worth means understanding that it's not your job to fix people who don't want to grow. It's not your responsibility to convince anyone to treat you right. If they wanted to, they would. And if they don't, it's your cue to walk away. Not because you're giving up, but because you're leveling up. Knowing your worth changes everything. It changes how you walk into a room, how you talk to people, how you see rejection. You stop seeing no as failure. You see it as redirection. You stop chasing people. You start chasing purpose. You stop begging for a seat at the table. You build your own. Every time you choose yourself over fear, you reclaim a piece of your power. And let's not pretend it's easy. It takes courage to walk away from things that no longer serve you. It takes strength to say, I deserve more. when your heart still wants less. It takes faith to believe in your value when the world keeps testing it. But once you do, you'll never go back. You'll look at the old version of yourself, the one who tolerated disrespect, and you'll whisper, never again. You'll start realizing that the right people will never make you question your worth. The right opportunities won't require you to beg. The right energy will flow, not force. When you know your worth, rejection becomes protection, silence becomes clarity, and walking away becomes self-respect. So stop discounting yourself to make others comfortable. Stop dimming your light to make others shine. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out. Every scar, every failure, every heartbreak has prepared you for strength. Remember that gold is tested by fire. And so are you. Don't hide your shine because others are intimidated by it. The right ones won't be blinded, they'll be inspired. Every time you choose yourself, the world rearranges to match your energy. Every time you walk with confidence, people sense it before you even speak. Your worth is not up for negotiation, it's your birthright. It's not arrogance to know your value, it's wisdom to protect it. You are the investment, not the expense. You are the prize, not the consolation. The sooner you realize that, the faster you'll attract the life, the love, and the respect you truly deserve. There comes a time in life when you have to look at yourself in the mirror and admit that you're exhausted. Not because life is unfair, but because you've been giving too much of yourself to people who give too little in return. You've been overgiving, overcaring, over-explaining, and undervalued. You keep trying to fill other people's cups while yours has been empty for a long time. And the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot save everyone, fix everyone, or carry everyone. Sometimes love becomes your weakness when you keep giving it to those who don't know how to receive it. Think about this. You're the one who always remembers birthdays, who checks in, who listens to everyone's problems, who shows up no matter how tired you are. But when you need someone, it's silence. When you need comfort, no one notices. That's what overgiving does. It blinds you with kindness until you forget that you deserve the same energy you give. There's a fine line between being selfless and being self-destructive. And most people cross it without realizing. You keep telling yourself, it's okay, I'll be fine. Until one day you're not fine anymore. Imagine this scenario. You're at work, always the one who covers shifts, who stays late, who fixes mistakes that aren't even yours. You do it because you're reliable, responsible and kind. But instead of appreciation, you get taken for granted. People start expecting your help, not valuing it. And the moment you say no, they look at you like you've changed. That's what happens when you overgive. People get comfortable with your generosity and forget it's a choice, not an obligation. Or think about relationships. You love deeply, fully, and without limits. You're the one texting first, apologizing first, forgiving first. You think love means sacrifice, but sacrifice without balance becomes self-abandonment. You start dimming your own light to make someone else shine. You make excuses for their behavior. You tell yourself, maybe they're just busy, or maybe they didn't mean it. But the truth is, people always make time for what they value. If someone wanted to give you effort, they would. You can't keep watering a plant that's already dead and expect it to bloom. Sometimes, giving comes from a place of fear. Fear of losing people. Fear of being seen as selfish. Fear of being alone. But the irony is, when you give too much, you lose yourself anyway. You start living in survival mode, trying to keep everyone happy except the one person who needs it most, you. You start saying yes when your heart is screaming no. You start compromising your boundaries because you're scared of disappointing others. But you know what's worse than disappointing others? Disappointing yourself. It's okay to love people, but love them from a place of strength, not sacrifice. Give because it feels right, not because you're afraid of losing them. When you overgive, you create an imbalance, and imbalance always leads to pain. Healthy love, healthy friendships, healthy work dynamics are built on mutual respect and effort, not one-sided giving. Imagine a seesaw. If only one side keeps pushing down, eventually it breaks. Balance is not selfish, it's survival. Here's something most people don't tell you giving is often a trauma response. Somewhere in your past, you learned that to be loved, you have to earn it. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was conditional. You had to behave, perform, or please just to feel worthy. And now, as an adult, you carry that same habit, trying to prove your value through what you give. But love that has to be earned is not love, it's validation. And validation will never fill the emptiness that self-worth can. Think about friendships. You're always the one planning meetups, reaching out, keeping the connection alive. And when you stop, everything stops. That silence teaches you who was truly there for you and who was just comfortable receiving. Sometimes you have to stop being the glue that holds everything together and watch who still sticks around. The right people won't leave just because you stopped overextending. The wrong ones will, and that's your blessing, not your loss. There's power in restraint. Power in saying, I've done enough. Power in stepping back and allowing others to meet you halfway. You don't have to match everyone's energy. Sometimes the best response is distance. When you stop over-giving, you create space for reciprocity. You make room for people who don't just take from your table, but bring something to it. You allow your energy to return to you instead of leaking it into places that never appreciated it. And let's talk about emotional energy. Some of you are emotional sponges. You absorb everyone's pain, everyone's drama, everyone's chaos. You think it's empathy, but often it's exhaustion in disguise. You can't heal people by breaking yourself. You can't light someone else's candle if your own wick is burning out. It's okay to care, but it's also okay to take a step back and say, I need a moment. Protecting your peace doesn't make you unkind, it makes you wise. There's a saying, if you give people too much, they'll forget how to earn it. Giving teaches others that your time, love, and energy come cheap. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. The more you overextend, the more they expect. And one day, when you finally pull back, they'll call you selfish, not because you changed, but because you stopped making their comfort your priority. Remember the airplane rule, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Why? Because if you pass out, you can't save anyone. That's how life works. If your emotional tank is empty, your love loses meaning. Giving from overflow is beautiful. Giving from emptiness is dangerous. Learn to rest, not to quit. Learn to refill before you give again. There's beauty in balance. There's strength in stillness. You don't have to constantly prove your love through effort. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is step back and let people meet you where you are. The right ones will. The wrong ones will fade. And that's okay. Because when you stop over-giving, you stop bleeding for people who never intended to stop the wound. You begin to heal in silence. You begin to understand that love is not measured by how much you give. It's measured by how much peace remains when you do. In this world full of promises and pretty words, you have to learn one thing that will save your heart and your peace. Watch what people do, not what they say. Words are easy, they flow effortlessly, especially when people want something from you. But effort, that's where the truth lies. Effort reveals intentions. Effort uncovers love. Effort separates those who are genuine from those who are just good at pretending. People can say, I care, I miss you, or you mean so much to me. But if their actions don't back it up, it's just noise wrapped in charm. You see, anyone can talk, anyone can promise, but effort is the rare currency of authenticity. Effort is when someone shows up even when it's inconvenient. Effort is when they remember what matters to you, not because they have to, but because they want to. Effort doesn't need grand gestures or social media displays. It's in the small things, the consistent things. It's in the, I called because I was thinking of you. Not the, sorry, I got busy for weeks. It's in the, I'll help you out. Not the, let me know if you need anything, that never turns into action. Think about it in daily life. You might have a friend who always says, let's hang out soon. But months pass and nothing happens. Then there's another person who, without saying much, just shows up with coffee when you're having a hard day. That's the difference. Words create expectations, effort builds trust. Words can impress you once, but effort will convince you forever. In relationships, this lesson becomes a shield for your heart. Someone may tell you every night, I love you. But love without consistency is a performance. The real question isn't how many times they say it. It's how many times they show it. Do they make you feel safe? Do they listen when you speak? Do they respect your silence when you're not okay? Because love is not found in repetition of words, but in the reliability of actions. You can't believe someone's lips while ignoring their behavior. At work, it's the same. You'll find people who talk big about teamwork, ambition, and loyalty. But when deadlines hit, their words vanish into thin air. Then there's that one person who quietly gets things done, who delivers when it matters, who doesn't need to brag. That's effort. The world celebrates noise, but the wise observe patterns. The louder the talk, the smaller the follow-through. And that's a pattern you must not ignore. Let's talk about promises. Everyone loves to make them because promises feel powerful. But a promise without action is manipulation. It's hope without delivery. How many times have you believed someone who said, I'll change, I'll be there next time, or I'll do better? You gave them the benefit of the doubt. But they gave you repetition without progress. And every time you convince yourself that their words were enough. But no more. Growth means you start holding people accountable not for what they say, but for what they consistently do. Because love without action is just a beautiful lie dressed as a dream. You deserve people who match your effort. Not the ones who meet you halfway only when it's easy, but those who stay consistent even when life gets difficult. People who don't just say, I've got you, but prove it when the world falls apart. You know effort when you see it. It's quiet, it's stable, it's honest. It doesn't need attention or applause. It simply shows up, here's something powerful. Effort is energy and energy doesn't lie. When someone wants to be in your life, they'll find ways. When they don't, they'll find excuses. Pay attention to that. You save yourself from disappointment. Actions reveal priorities. If someone truly values you, you'll never have to remind them to care. The moment you stop making excuses for people's lack of effort, your standards rise. And when your standards rise, your circle changes. Because those who can't match your energy will naturally fade away. Let me share a small everyday example. You might have a partner who tells you they support your dreams. They say all the right things. I believe in you. You'll do great. I'm proud of you. But when it comes time to help, to encourage, or even to show up for your big moment, they're nowhere to be found. Then there's someone else, maybe a friend or mentor, who quietly helps you prepare, checks in, and claps the loudest when you win. That's real support. That's effort. It doesn't talk. It acts. Even in family, this truth holds. Some relatives will tell you, we're always here for you. Yet, when you go through pain or struggle, it's the quiet ones who reach out, who listen without judgment, who simply sit beside you in silence. Because presence is effort. Listening is effort. Consistency is effort. Don't overlook it just because it doesn't come wrapped in pretty words. Sometimes we ignore red flags because we fall in love with potential. We hear what we want to hear instead of seeing what's right in front of us. We tell ourselves they didn't mean it or they'll change. But effort never lies. If someone wants to, they will. You never have to beg for attention from the right people. You never have to remind the right soul to care. You can measure someone's sincerity by what they do when nobody's watching. Because when people care, you feel it, not in their words, but in their consistency. It's in the check-ins, the small gestures, the quiet loyalty. You deserve people who make effort their language, not excuses their defense. Watch how they move when things get tough, when the spotlight is off, when helping you doesn't benefit them. That's when truth shows its face. Life becomes lighter when you stop believing every word and start observing every action. People will reveal who they are through their patterns. Someone can promise you forever and still leave you halfway. But someone else, without promising a thing, will stay every single time. Observe that difference. The key is to align your heart with your logic. Feel deeply, but see clearly. Don't let words hypnotize you into ignoring actions. The person who says less and does more is the one worth keeping. The one who says more and does nothing is teaching you a lesson. Not to trust potential, but to trust consistency. Because in the end, actions are louder than the loudest declarations. And effort will always speak the language of truth that words can never fake. There's a huge difference between setting standards and building walls. Standards come from self-respect, walls come from fear. And too often people confuse the two. When you've been hurt, ignored, or betrayed, it's easy to start believing that isolation equals safety. But that's not true. Safety doesn't come from cutting everyone off. It comes from knowing what you deserve and refusing to settle for less. Setting standards isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. It's not about pushing people away. It's about protecting your peace. The world will always test how much you're willing to tolerate. People will treat you based on what you allow. And if you keep saying, it's fine, when it's not, they'll believe you. You train others by what you accept. Having standards doesn't mean you're arrogant or picky. It means you've learned from your pain. It means you've recognized that your time, your love, and your presence are valuable. When you know what you bring to the table, you stop entertaining those who can't even meet you halfway. Think about it. In your career, you set standards without even realizing it. You show up on time, you deliver results, you bring ideas. You don't accept mediocrity because you know your worth. So why not apply that same discipline to your personal life? If you wouldn't accept laziness at work, why accept it in relationships? If you wouldn't tolerate disrespect from a colleague, why tolerate it from someone who claims to care about you? Setting standards means choosing alignment over attachment, saying, if you can't match my energy, I'll match your distance. Let's take a daily example. You're always the one texting first, making plans, checking in, keeping the connection alive. You tell yourself it's effort, but sometimes it's a lack of standards in disguise. Because if the bond truly mattered to both people, you wouldn't be the only one watering it. Standards mean expecting reciprocity. They mean saying, I'm not chasing anyone who isn't meeting me where I am. When you stop overextending, you'll see who truly values you. Setting standards also means defining how you want to be spoken to. The tone, the words, the energy, it all matters. If someone constantly dismisses your feelings, mocks your dreams, or uses silence as punishment, that's not love, that's control. And when you have standards, you don't explain why you deserve respect. You simply stop entertaining people who can't give it. Some people will call you too much, too strict, or too proud. But what they really mean is, you're no longer easy to take advantage of. There's another kind of standard. Emotional availability. You can't keep settling for half-present people who only show up when it benefits them. You deserve consistency, not confusion. You deserve depth, not drama. You deserve presence, not promises. Sometimes you meet people who give you fragments of attention and expect full devotion in return. Standards mean recognizing that imbalance and saying, no more. You don't have to fight for space in someone's life. If they want you there, you'll never have to beg for a seat. Picture this. You've got a friend who only reaches out when they need something. They talk about loyalty, but disappear when it's your turn to need help. If you keep giving them the same access, you're teaching them that bare minimum effort is acceptable. But when you start pulling back, when you start saying no to one-sided relationships, you'll feel a shift. Suddenly, people either rise to meet your standards or they fade away. And that's how you separate genuine connections from convenient ones. Setting standards isn't about demanding perfection. It's about demanding honesty, effort, and respect. You're not asking for the world, you're asking for alignment. You're asking for people who don't drain you just to feed their ego. You're asking for conversations that feed your soul, not arguments that kill your spirit. There's a big difference between being alone and being at peace. One feels lonely, the other feels powerful. Standards help you get to that power. Think about romantic relationships. Many people confuse tolerance with love. They think loving someone means accepting their patterns even when those patterns cause pain. But love without boundaries becomes a cage. Setting standards in love means knowing the difference between compromise and self-betrayal. It's okay to adjust, but not to the point of losing yourself. When someone truly values you, your standards won't scare them. They respect them. Because mature love knows that boundaries are not rejection, they are protection. Sometimes setting standards means disappointing people who were comfortable with your old version. The one who said yes to everything. The one who tolerated disrespect quietly. The one who accepted less than she deserved just to keep the peace. But peace that costs your self-worth isn't peace. It's emotional debt. When you raise your standards, people will say you've changed. They're right, you did. You stopped settling. You stopped shrinking to fit into small places. You stopped apologizing for wanting more. There's a story in every person who learned to raise their standards. There's the friend who stopped being the backup plan and found peace in solitude. There's the employee who quit the toxic job that paid well but drained their soul. There's the person who stopped returning calls from someone who only brought chaos. That's the beauty of standards. They don't just protect you, they transform you. They remind you that you are not here to be chosen by everyone. You're here to be respected by the right ones. And yes, setting standards can feel lonely at first. You'll lose people who were attached to your lack of boundaries. But you'll gain clarity. You'll gain self-respect. You'll gain peace. Because when you stop lowering your bar for others, you start attracting people who are capable of reaching it. Standards aren't barriers, they're filters. They don't block love, they refine it. They don't keep people out, they let the right ones in. People will test your limits, especially when they see you growing. They'll try to convince you that your expectations are too high. But don't lower them, teach them. Teach them through consistency, not confrontation. When your energy changes, your environment adjusts. Standards are silent teachers, they don't need explanations. You don't have to argue your worth. You don't have to defend your boundaries. Just stand firm and watch how people either evolve to meet you or remove themselves completely. There comes a point in life when you realize that peace is not just silence or solitude. It's strength. It's power. It's protection. You begin to see that peace is not something that appears magically. It's something you have to fight for. Something you have to choose every single day. When you prioritize your peace, you stop reacting to everything that tries to disturb it. You stop giving your energy to chaos and you start building an environment where your mind can breathe. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, is worth losing your peace over. You have to learn that peace doesn't come from the absence of noise. It comes from mastering your calm within the noise. It's easy to look peaceful when life is perfect, but real strength is staying centered when everything around you is falling apart. It's saying, I could argue, but I won't. I could fight, but I'll let it go. I could explain myself, but my silence will speak louder. That's the kind of peace that only comes when you've been through enough storms to understand that not every battle deserves your energy. Imagine this. Someone sends you a rude message, tries to provoke you, tries to pull you into their negativity. You feel the heat rise, your heart race, and that urge to defend yourself builds. But then you take a breath and think, if I respond, I'm stepping down to their level. If I stay silent, I'm choosing my peace. And you let it go. That moment is freedom. Because reacting gives them control, but choosing peace gives you power. The more you mature, the more you'll realize that peace isn't weakness, it's wisdom. In your everyday life, people will constantly test your boundaries. At work, someone might take credit for your effort. In your family, someone might criticize your choices. Among friends, someone might spread rumors behind your back. You can't control what people say or do, but you can control how much of it you let inside your mind. When you make peace your priority, you stop trying to win every argument or correct every misunderstanding. You simply understand that not everyone deserves a response. Silence becomes your strategy, not your surrender. There's a certain kind of peace that comes when you stop trying to fix everything and everyone. You can love people deeply, but still step back when their chaos becomes too heavy. You can care, but still choose distance when the energy drains you. Because protecting your peace sometimes means disappointing others, and that's okay. You're not responsible for anyone else's happiness but your own. The more you try to save people who refuse to save themselves, the more you sink with them. Real love doesn't mean sacrificing your sanity. It means knowing when to let go. Think about how much energy you waste worrying about things you can't control. The traffic, the gossip, the opinions of others. All of it steals your peace because you keep feeding it with attention. Imagine if you use that same energy to grow, to heal, to rest, to create. You'd be unstoppable. But most people spend their lives reacting instead of reflecting. The moment you start choosing peace over drama, you'll notice how light life feels. Because peace declutters your soul the way spring cleaning declutters your home. It removes what doesn't serve you so you can breathe again. You've probably had those days when someone's words keep replaying in your head. Something hurtful, unfair, or dismissive. You think about it all day, you lose sleep over it, you plan what you should have said back. But here's the truth, your mind will never find peace by revisiting the same hurt. Peace starts when you decide that not everything deserves a replay. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how long you let it disturb your inner world. You don't owe your thoughts to everything that happens around you. Not every situation deserves your mental rent. There's also peace in saying no. So many people lose their peace because they're scared to disappoint others. They say yes when their heart says no. They commit to things they don't have time for. They help people who never return the favor. They keep showing up even when they're mentally exhausted. But peace comes when you learn that saying no doesn't make you unkind. It makes you honest. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you say no to your peace. You have to start protecting your energy like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. Sometimes prioritizing your peace means walking away without closure. It means accepting that not everyone will understand you, not everyone will apologize, and not every situation will make sense. But peace is not about having answers. It's about having acceptance. It's the ability to say, I don't need to understand everything to move on. I just need to let it go. That's maturity. That's freedom. When you stop searching for closure from others, you find it within yourself. Think about how peaceful life becomes when you stop expecting people to act like you. You give and they don't. You show up and they don't. You care and they don't. But instead of getting angry, you learn to say, that's who they are. I can't control that. You can only control who you choose to be. And when you master that art, you become untouchable. Because nothing disturbs a person who has chosen peace over pettiness. There's a moment when you realize that peace is not found in people or places. It's found in perspective. It's not about escaping your problems. It's about learning not to let them own you. You start living differently. You start moving slower, talking less, listening more. You start walking away from conversations that go nowhere, arguments that drain you, people who gossip, and places that don't grow you. You stop chasing validation because your peace becomes more valuable than anyone's approval. And maybe the most beautiful thing about prioritizing peace is how it transforms your energy. You begin to glow differently. You laugh easier. You sleep better. You wake up without dread. People start asking, what's changed? And you smile because they won't understand that your glow isn't from a new job or relationship. It's from finally being unbothered. You stopped letting everything reach your spirit. You stopped carrying what wasn't yours to carry. Peace became your new standard, and suddenly life started to feel lighter, calmer, and more meaningful than ever before. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you finally understand you cannot be everyone's option and still live in peace. You cannot please the world and still find your own happiness. You cannot keep running after people who walk away and expect your soul to stay intact. So when that realization hits you, don't be afraid to let go. Don't be afraid to choose you. Because the moment you do, you stop surviving for approval and start living with purpose. You've spent years dimming your light just to make others comfortable, shrinking your dreams just to fit in their expectations, lowering